Welcome to the Great Equalizer. We're at Talladega Superspeedway for the halfway point of the 1-Up Superstar Series playoffs at Talladega, race number 25 of 30 this season in 2022. And boy, have we got a good show for you today. 57 laps of heart-pounding 3 and 4 wide racing action, and you're not going to want to miss a single lap as we bring it all live from Talladega. Alongside me in the booth today for this race is current Turbo Truck Series points leader Ryan Griffin for this race, and you can honestly win this race from anywhere, as you've proven earlier this weekend. Starting 35th, finished 6th. It's a very easy task, but there's also a great risk of getting involved in a big wreck, and that could just as easily ruin your title chances.
I've heard it said from a fellow competitor years ago that when it comes to racing at Talladega, it's like taking a bunch of marbles, dropping them in a clothes dryer, and hit the start. And whatever marble pops out is the marble that survives. But that's basically the way Talladega is. It's as much how much luck you have as it is how much skill you have. Now, for me personally, I can tell you, to be honest, as much as I like to say that I'm a good driver, I got lucky. But that's the way Talladega could be. Somebody's going to get lucky today. Somebody's going to have things go right their way. They're going to put themselves in the right position, and just one little element of luck goes their way. They could be sitting in victory lane at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and with a bit of strategy thrown into the mix as well, we could see a very shuffled up field by the time this race concludes. As we can now look at the starting lineup for today's 57-lap race, we have another new pole winner, this time in the form of Truck Series regular Jonathan Lawson, who takes his first career Superstar pole by a smidgen over Nitro National driver Dylan Young. We have drivers from the lower series filling out the entirety of the front row for the first time ever. Cale Tescar Jr. is the highest playoff driver in third, and most of the playoff field is scattered throughout this running order. The lowest among them is Ben McDonnell in 37th, but as we saw in the truck race and in the Nitro National race, you can get from the back to the front pretty quickly, but just as easily, you can go from the front to the back as well.
Yeah, it's all going to be a matter of the big lesson today is the guys, you want to be going forward at the end. If you go back and forth throughout the race, you're used to you're going to go back and forth throughout the race. It's just the nature of this racing. But you want to be moving toward the front and be going to the front by the time the race ends.
And that may very well shape the outcome of the 2022 championship. So, with that being said, we've got 42 drivers lined up on the grid ready to go, and we are ready to bring you 57 laps of racing action from the Talladega Superspeedway. The 1-Up Superstar Series playoffs hit the halfway point today at Talladega, and the green flag is mere moments away, so stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss a second of the action set to take place over the next 57 laps. Heading into the tri-oval here at Talladega, towards the start-finish line, Jonathan Lawson and Dylan Young lead us to the green flag, which is now in the air. The field fans out, and we are underway at Talladega Superspeedway. Jeffrey Finguy at the back makes a big move to the outside, but it's Lawson who gets away with the lead. No help from behind, but I think he's going to get the lead going into one, because I don't think Dylan Young has much help either, as McMillan dives to fill in the hole.
And, Lawson out there just a little bit, couple cars out in front as they're trying to sort itself out here on this initial lap. You're just trying to get your bearings about you. Still kind of double filed. I think it's Fitzwater trying to make it 3 wide there. And so far, double file behind Lawson. Lawson will see if he comes around here, see if he can lead the first lap, which he failed to do in the truck race the other day. And it looks like he will lead this first lap.
And look at them rocket their way around Talladega. These guys are reaching ludicrous speeds at this 2.66 mile track. They're already with an average of 200 plus miles per hour. That just goes to show you how quickly they can get up to speed here. As Lawson leads them off of turn 2, Nelson Reeves into 17 and Roberto Crown Jr., 2 teammates at King's Motorsports, trying to gang up on the rookie out of Norway. But Crown now trying to get underneath his teammate for second, barreling it off into turn 3. Roberto Crown Jr. really needs to lead this lap because he needs all the points he can get. He's had a rough start to the playoffs so far.
I tell you, the other car that's on the move right now, I mentioned him going 3 wide earlier. Look at this 59 of Fitzwater now trying to take second from Crown as he works that inside line. The inside lane, honestly, is going to be your preferred lane here. So, but we'll see a lot of shuffling with this package. Drivers going from the inside, and then once they get the lead, they'll jump to the top and kind of shuffle their way back. But it's Lawson leading as Crown looks now to the inside to try to see if he can get the lead. But he doesn't have any help now. Hutchinson's going to drop in behind him.
I think that was the move that Crown needed. With Hutchinson behind him, he can now make his way to the inside of...
Oh, they're 4 wide back there.
Yeah, this is going to get really intense as this race progresses. We're only on lap 3, but already we've got a lot of 3 and 4 wide action as Roberto Crown Jr. leads for the first time this afternoon with Hutchinson and Lawson in hot pursuit.
Tell you what, it's a whole different experience to be up here in the booth watching this versus me down here doing it, but man, Crown leads it right now over Hutchinson. Lawson's still on the top side. They're trying to keep double file, but they're 3 and at one point at least 4 wide back there. I can't see. I think that might be Polanski in the 18 that's stuck on that very top lane. Yeah. Now they're back 2 for third and then 3 from there.
Yeah, it looks like Polanski actually scraped the wall along the back straightaway, and he's losing time to the cars around him. He's going to stack up the pack a little bit, dropping them off the lead group. But how about that third car on the bottom, Jeremy Frey, making his one-up racing debut in the Superstar Series, qualified 17th, and on lap 5, he's already running in the top 5. Gets pushed up by Lawson, though, but still a strong run by that 44 as Crown continues to lead, Polanski dropping back. Oh, and Cale Teskar Jr. into the wall with some significant damage on that 0-2. He is now going to fall to the back of the field, and this could spell disaster for Cale Teskar Jr. He's had such a good season.
He's got a lot of left side damage. I mean, yeah, we saw him get against the wall, but he's got a lot of left side damage, like he got into somebody, or somebody got into him, I should say.
Yeah, he's had a phenomenal season up to this point, as it looks like we got a smoker on the track, and it's Jeff Bolton in the 38, slowing dramatically through the tri-oval. His race will come to an early end on lap number 6. A disaster for the 38 team, who really didn't need this. They needed such a good day to get back into the top 30 in earners points. It will not come today. Bolton, our first retiree on lap number 6.
Yeah, I was going to get back before we saw the 38 engine let go, but that's 2 playoff guys. Polanski and Taskar running into issues here early. And that's 2 of those guys that are in the playoffs that probably don't need something like this to happen, but as you can see, the pack is kind of separated because of those 2 guys having issues, and then Bolton's engine going has kind of thinned out a couple of cars here.
Yeah, especially Jared Polanski did not need this. He was last among the playoff drivers going into this race, 15th, a long way out of the lead. This is certainly not going to help him in his bid for a championship, but back at the front of the field, Polanski and Teskar's teammate, Roberto Crown Jr., seems to be having a good time out in the front of this race, but he might lose it here to Jonathan Lawson in the 16 with a very strong car. This Equinor Chevrolet doing a very nice job. And up on the top is points leader Miles Mashburn having a strong day. That is what he needs with a lot of playoff drivers struggling so far. The 72 just needs to keep a steady wheel and bring home a top 10 to keep this points lead.
Also notice there's the 91 in this, Ortiz, that's Hutchinson's teammate up here too. We saw Hutchinson up there earlier, and that's Hutchinson actually behind him right now. So those 2 teammates working together. And then you got the, you'll have to correct me, you got the 77, I believe that's Yepes?
Yes, it is. And behind him is the defending series champion, Christian Vargas, making a move 3 wide to the inside for third. Vargas knows his way around the Superspeedway. He won the 2021 shootout at Pensacola, so he knows his way around the high banks, and he's looking for the lead now on Lawson, trying to push him past Crown for the lead.
I mean, it pretty much is, yeah, this track is notorious for you could be anywhere, start anywhere, and be in the lead within a couple laps, vice versa. You could be up front and be in the back before you know it. But, I mean, right now it's Lawson leading, and then you got Vargas, and then Fitzwater still hanging in there in that 59.
And you can see at the back, you can see Polanski and Teskar have lost the draft completely. You can see the 4 cars directly ahead of them. Looked like Henley, Ross, and Anderson Reed was in there as well. They should be able to catch back up to the rest of the pack and carry on as business as usual. But for Cale Teskar Jr. and Jared Polanski, they will have lost this pack, and without a caution, their hopes of scoring a good finish likely out the window.
Honestly, I think the bigger concern for them is the damage, how much damage they have to the race cars. I know Taskar looked like he had a lot of left side damage. So it's not just losing the pack, it's like you're going to lose even more than just the pack at this point with that much damage. But yeah, the rest of the pack has kind of stayed back together here, except for those two. As Dylan Young is going to try to gun underneath Vargas there for the lead.
Yeah, you can see the two playoff teammates, Teskar and Polanski, swapping around, trying to see if which order is the fastest way around. And Dylan Young, he had the lead for a moment, but he might lose it here to fellow Nitro National driver Aaron Hall. They're side by side across the line. Hall leads that lap by the slimmest of margins. But boy, the future is bright in the one-up racing with so many good Nitro National drivers having good days in the Superstar Series, like you see Hall and Young doing as well.
I'll tell you what, look at that car on the inside, the 19 car. That car started 35th. It started where I did in the truck race. And look at this, they're gunning for second, and you could be gunning after the lead here. We'll see what they do coming off the trial, and that's Emma Carter there on the 70 as well.
Yeah, and we know how good Blair in the 19 is at the super speedways. She is a whiz at this style of racing, and she is looking for the lead in a BWT sandwich as it stands right now, with Aaron Hall directly ahead of her and Emma Carter directly behind. I'm sure Carter would love to get Blair out of the way so the teammates could rush off with the lead of this thing, but they're still, and as Carter tries to make a move on the 19, she tries to make it, well, actually, she's going to make it 3 wide right now for the race lead, still in a BWT sandwich at the front.
And I could mention this too, because we got 3 cars up here, 3 female drivers, you got 2 of the pink cars. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and boy, these ladies are representing right now here, at least 12 laps into this one, running 1, 2, 3. Then you got the other one, and then also Young's there on the top. As they're 3 wide behind them. As much as this pack is still together, I mean, except for, really, we mentioned the 2 damaged cars of Taskar and Polanski, but everybody else is pretty much right here gathered together. Still with a shot as we work lap 13.
Amazing, we've already completed 13 laps. It just goes to show how fast these cars are going at Talladega. As the 2 ladies up front battle for the lead, Blair in the 19, Emma Carter in the 70, side by side. Carter's going to get some help from 2 playoff drivers, Mark Davey and Roberto Crown Jr. Make that 3 playoff drivers, JQ Halleck in the 4, making their way to the front as well. They started pretty far back in the field with teammate Devin Fair, who's only a few cars behind. So at the front of the field now, Roberto Crown Jr. takes the lead back as they're 4 wide for position behind. This is just a wild race at Talladega.
And was it you that mentioned Ben McDonald started 37th? Look who's the 3rd car on the inside. Look at that 12 car, that red 12 car. Yeah,
Absolutely.
You really can't start anywhere and be at the front here before too long. I mean, 14 laps in, and he's sitting there 4th on the, or now 3rd on the inside line as Roberto Crown Jr. has nobody to his outside. So, but man, it's fun being up here in the booth versus down there driving it, because this is exciting to watch. I mean, it makes your blood pressure, it gives you some high blood pressure and some really tense nerves when you're doing it, but when you're up here watching it, man, this is enjoyable right now.
I'm sure it's not too enjoyable for the car owners who are sitting here watching this, trying to see if they can survive a race at Talladega without some torn up sheet metal. But at the front of the field, it is Roberto Crown Jr. looking for his first career win. JQ Halleck and Mark Davey got theirs this year, and they're looking to add a few more to their resume. Ben McDonald snapped a long winless drought this season. He wants another win. Bubba Jones looking to break a really long winless streak, and he is no stranger to success on the super speedways. He won our very first race at Daytona, so he's a very strong super speedway driver, and that 04 is coming to the front, 4th car on the bottom.
As the pack continues kind of winding their way around, the front 3 are single file at the moment. The 04 now is going to get single file, so first 4 single file, and then they're double file. There is some 3 wide a little bit back in this pack, about midway back in this pack, but the pack pretty much staying together right now. Everybody just kind of feeling out, seeing what their car can do, seeing when they can make a move to that inside line to start moving forward. As McDonald's going to come to second, and man, you know, people were saying me coming from 35th the other day, and now I'm watching like Ben McDonald started 37th. He was up here. Or the Blair in the 19 started 35th. She was up here. It's like it's amazing when you actually watch it versus doing it. You know.
Absolutely. Echo Ross making a run towards the front of the field. You can see her in that red and white 39 on the inside, in the middle group. She started 41st in this race. So a strong run out of the Motor Dash Racing team, who had a strong car in the Nitro National race yesterday. As here comes Bobo Jones for the lead. Crown cuts him off with help from Duke Anzac in the 83. And Devin Fair in the 51, who dives to below the 83 to try and make a run at third spot. You really can win this race from anywhere. You see Keon Daly, another one of our strong Nitro National drivers, having a good day in the Superstar race. That red and white Arby's car having a good run in the 6th position. But as things run right now, actually, Bobo Jones, I was just about to talk about him, gets moved up to the top of the racetrack. And that allows Anzac to the bottom, with J.D. Martin now coming down to give him a push.
It's just this track. It's like a cycle. You'll start on the inside. The inside's where the momentum is. Somebody will pop back up, and they'll fall out, pop to the back, and then try to make the run back up. Basically, what these guys are doing throughout this race, and I can say this because being the truck race for the day, you're kind of timing out how long it takes you to get through the pack to get to the front. If you're not already at the front, the time of how long it takes you out, so you know for when that late run, when you want to be going forward, how long it can take you to get there. And sometimes it's a smart thing to do. Obviously, Crown has already cycled a couple of times because he's back up to the front now. And you got some of these guys that are trying to work their way back. I see Ortiz coming back here in the 91. And I see Fitzwater kind of back in there too, is another one that was at the front earlier and now cycling his way back to the front. So that's basically what you're trying to do at this point. As we see, here comes Devin Fair, the 51, now looking for second.
And I do want to give special mention as well to this 68 right behind the 51. That's Ryan Jackson in that 68. He started 39th today. And in that Nova Sport number 68, putting together a strong run. He was running as high as third, but now he gets put in the middle by Nick Ortiz. Still a strong run. We'll see if he can close the deal in 37 laps time. And although we are still quite a ways from pit stops occurring, it's never too early to start talking about them. We're about 18 to 20 laps away from those happening, and that is going to split the pack up in quite a big way.
That's where you also got to be sure that you're letting the guy know behind you when you come to pit road, especially when you have a big pack like this. You have to let the person behind you know when you're coming, so you don't have somebody run you over. You're trying to come to pit road, and that's, pit road. Getting to pit road is the easy part. Getting there and not getting into an incident while getting there, that's the hard part.
And we saw
there is kind of
a
a single file now.
Yeah, and we saw that very same thing happen during the Nitro National race yesterday. So there's a lot of room to make mistakes, but a lot of room to gain time if you're good. And here comes Christian Vargas trying to help his teammate Devin Fair to the race lead. Fair trying to make up some lost points after a first lap crash at Denver. Fair now out in the lead of this race with Christian Vargas pushing him along.
Yeah, it always helps to have a teammate when you're drafting. Teammates. It may be hard to try to get yourselves together depending on where you are with the pack, but a teammate can be a best friend on a track like this. And right now it is Vargas and Fair that lead this race. Fair ahead of Vargas.
And we have two more teammates right behind them, this time from Sinclair Canada Racing. It's Stephen Gale in the 35, Anderson Reed in the 15. They're making a charge towards the front. The 35 and 15 are. Devin Fair comes down to block them, but I fully expect, there's the move by Stephen Gale with Anderson Reed pushing to try and get the lead, but Yepes splits them up.
And yeah, you may look at this and say, well, there's a lot of Toyotas up here. Toyotas, really, all the manufacturers so far today have been strong as far as having cars that can get to the front and cars that are up here racing. There really isn't one dominant manufacturer right now today, and that's kind of a neat thing to see. I know the manufacturers are happy about that. You'd want to be miles ahead, but to see each manufacturer's got a shot. Is that Crown 3 wide there between I believe that was
that's between Blair and
Vargas.
Molina
and the and
Vargas in the
Vargas.
54.
And Molina, how about Molina started dead last in this field, and look where he's at.
Yeah, he's up in the top 5 now. You can win this race from anywhere. And I was going to mention, you always mention when you're up here with us how you never like to give the dominant driver of the race a curse up here. Good luck finding a dominant driver here in this race, because it's going to be very difficult.
At least with us here, and I was kind of saying this before we went live, that this is the one race where I can't curse the dominant driver because there's really not going to be a dominant driver here.
But speaking of drivers doing a good job, Stephen Gale takes the lead, looking for his first win in a very long time. Cale Tescar Jr. looks like he's already made a pit stop in this race. He can go to the end now, but he is one lap down now in the 41st position. But Stephen Gale with a good lead out front. Dylan Young in second. Blair and Daniel Voiles making a move to the front. Voiles started this race, back in 26th place, and he's doing a very good job in the lone Team Dayspring entry. His teammate failed to qualify for the first time this year, but Voiles putting on a good show for Team Dayspring, moving up into 3rd place.
And let's add another name to the list of guys that have starting at the back and coming toward the front here. That battle for 4th right now, that 53 car started P40.
Yep, that's Felix Anderson in the 53. He's having a strong day. Remember, he got a top 10 at last time we were here, so he's having a strong run. As Jared Polanski is about to be lapped by this group. He was off the pace for a while with some damage, and now it's the time for him to go a lap down to these guys. Question is, where can the 18 go to avoid being run over?
Yeah, we kind of ran into this in the truck race the other day with a truck that was not off the pace. He was on pace. He just ended up losing the pack, and when we caught him, he just kind of blended in with the pack and really wasn't too much of a slow-up factor. But Polanski is going to be slow, so this could be a little hairy here as the leaders do get by.
Barely, though.
Wait to see if he. I think he's going to hold up this top lane.
That allows Stephen Gale to get quite a big lead as you see JQ Halleck at the back in that purple car almost lose touch with the lead group, but I'm sure they'll be able to get caught back up with the 18 slowing everyone down. As looks like we had a little dust up on the racetrack. Echo Ross coming to pit road all by herself. Maybe a slow issue for that car. But Jeffrey Finguy, another one of our playoff contenders, he's lost the pack with looked like Jason Parker back there trying to help him out. But I think with Polanski holding this group up, he might be able to get caught back up in a matter of moments.
Now, we'll see here as we got a single file line kind of now as Gale leads.
But here comes Bouchard to the inside.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's Bouchard looking to the inside. He doesn't really have any help behind him at the moment, but he should be able with the inside, the way the inside works here, he should be able to get at least alongside Gale.
Closest car to the 73 is Brandon Beal in the 37, who, by the way, one of only 3 full-time drivers not to have a top 10 yet this season. Could today be today, as they come up to lap Cale Tescar Jr. once again. This is going to be interesting, because Tescar, like Polanski, probably going to be a little slower, so this might be a bit of an issue for everybody behind this 02, and that might allow Finguy and Parker to get caught back up.
Now, I'll say this, at least Polanski, and it looks like Tescar as well, they picked the line and kind of stayed out of they gave the inside to the leaders, which is kind of like the preferred lane. But at the same time, it's like, it is a kind of annoyance to catch a car that is a little bit slower, especially here when you don't really want to lose the pack.
As you can see, Polanski actually got assimilated into the pack pretty easily. So I think Tescar is hoping he can do the same thing, because it looks like the damage on that 02 is fixed now on that pit stop.
I think both of them, because I noticed the damage that was on the left side of the 18 was repaired as well. So they both must have repaired damage. So they should be able to. I'm thinking they're going to be able to hang with the pack. It's just they're going to be off the lead lap. As Bouchard, I think he might actually now get it from Gale, as he's going to have help from Lawson.
And Reeves, and Bobo Jones, and Ramian Fisher back there.
Sideline.
Yeah,
As the
Ramian
pack comes
Fisher
back together.
in just his third career start, Ramian Fisher doing a nice job substituting for William Brock in that 93 car. Now third car on the bottom as Nelson Reeves leads that lap ahead of Bouchard. So Reeves is another driver looking for his first career win, and he's running out of chances to do it. He only has 5 more races in the Superstar Series after this one before he goes down to the Truck Series full-time. So Reeves wants to prove that he's got more than a good enough chance to get the checkered flag in a Superstar car.
Yeah, it's just fun to watch this pack. 2, 3 wide. Everybody's got a chance. And that's what I guess you could say we're just kind of waiting for that pit stop to come up. As we said, we already seen the two, I guess you'd say off the lead lap contenders, Polanski and Kaskar pit, but...
And the only other car that's pitted is Echo Ross, and she is now a lap down. But she can make it to the end of the race, so it'll be very interesting to see who is the first one, because unlike most racetracks, you do not want to be the first one on pit road here. You want to ideally pit with a bunch of other people so you can form back up in the draft very quickly.
I was going to say, it's not that you necessarily want to be the first one. You don't want to pit by yourself here. You want to have help when you come to pit road because how much the draft is a factor here. And if you pit by yourself, as we've already seen with both Polanski and Taskar and Echo Ross as well, you get one car by yourself, you're going to get eaten up by the pack quick. And as Davey looks like he's going to gun for the lead here now, get under Jones.
Yep, Mark Davey won the Pensacola 500 in just his second career start. He's on his 26th career start now, and you can see now Halleck, Finguy, and Parker well off the lead draft now. So this is going to be a big challenge for those three to get caught back up by the end of this race. But you never know. The pit stops can shake things up. They can spread the field out. Those three can get caught up in no time, I'm sure. But as things run right now, Mark Davey holds the lead over Emma Carter, Ramian Fisher, Roberto Crown Jr., Bubba Jones, the top 5.
So what's interesting so far is we are now 34 laps into this 57-lap race. No big issues or no big incidents so far. So we haven't seen, the looming possibility of the big one is still remains. So you want to be careful, get to pit road, and not have you be the reason, have a big one coming to pit road,
And you can see Roberto Crown Jr. splitting the two BWT cars. This sure looks familiar as from earlier in this race. But now it's Emma Carter out in the lead of this race. She hasn't won in a long time. It's been quite some time for that 70 car. And boy, would it be something to get back to victory lane here at Talladega. But we now have 23 laps to go from Talladega, and we still have a pit stop coming up. There's just a lot of opportunity still to be had in this race. We still don't know who the favorite is.
And that's the thing, with this kind of racing and the way the draft is, you probably won't even know who's going to win this race till probably even less than 10 laps to go. Because the way that the shuffle goes is Crown really making a good case that he may very well be the dominant guy today. Because he has gotten back to the front, but looks like he's going to have a challenge from Martin on the inside.
Yeah, Roberto Crown Jr. has been the most consistent driver at the front of the field today. But I would not put it past guys like J.D. Martin, Aaron Hall, Christian Vargas, even Lane Sanders, sport car on the bottom. Remember, he has a Superspeedway win to his name. We could see something happen there.
And he's also the hometown guy here, too. So he's got a little extra that he's racing for today. So
yep, as I've heard of a former driver say, a hometown advantage is easily worth a second of pace. But we'll see if that holds true at Talladega. But as things run right now, J.D. Martin and Roberto Crown Jr. side by side for the lead, coming to 21 laps to go.
Well, to go back to the hometown mention again, I say this as somebody who got to run his hometown race with the truckers at Michigan earlier this year, but there is a little extra, you do have a little extra giddy up when you know it's your hometown race. You almost try more, you almost put more of an effort forth when you know it's your hometown track and you know you got a chance to win in front of, your family and friends. And as we can see, the good battle for the lead right now, Martin and Crown still side by side, 2 lines, as it looks like, it's Molina on the 7 going to make it 3 wide.
hard to tell because both Monster
Yeah, I know.
Motorsports cars are at the front of the field, and now they're running right one in front of the other. Molina ahead of Jones. But it's J.D. Martin slowly edging ahead of Roberto Crown Jr. But Vargas now makes a move to the inside with help from Ryan Jackson.
Yeah, they remain double file for the lead here. It looks like they're 3 wide. Basically, the third row is where, or the third spot in the pack is when they're getting 3 wide, is they're going to catch this 39 here within a lap.
Yeah, they're going to catch her easily.
They were able to swallow up both Polanski and Tasker pretty all right. See if how the pack will handle the 39. Or maybe I think they're pitting.
Yep, we got pit stops on the horizon. We've got a handful making their way to pit. Roberto Crown Jr. comes in really hot for his pit stop. Hopefully he didn't get caught by the speeding police.
I don't know about that one. I'd hate to see that happen to Crown, as good a car as it looks like he had today, but that one looked very, very iffy from where I'm sitting here.
Yeah, he came in cooking, that's for sure. As Aaron Hall leads this race with Andres Molina second, McMillan and Sanders fighting for third. But remember, none of these guys have made their pit stops yet. So I fully expect them to be able to next time they come around. Actually, Aaron Hall might not get the chance because he's stuck on the outside with
Unless
Molina.
he ducks in behind the 7.
No, he's going to stay out. Whoa! Close call between Justin Henley and Jake McMillan.
Save.
And Henley now coming in with a lot of steam. Lane Sanders makes a little contact with Andres Molina. Doesn't look like too much damage there for either car. There's a lot of cars now hit pit road, and that should leave Aaron Hall, Bobo Jones, and Felix Anderson as the only ones not to pit yet. So there's Aaron Hall right now.
I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. We talked about, you got to watch pit stops because you don't want to end up having the big one. We almost saw an incident as they were coming to pit road, and man, I gotta tip my hat to that because that should have been a wreck right there. I don't know how those guys saved that.
So here come the remaining cars. Aaron Hall, Andres Molina, or actually Bobo Jones, they look so similar in the 04. And, whoa, Felix Anderson. He's probably going to get a speeding violation coming to pit road. But that should complete the cycle of pit stops. We'll see which packs formed up the best. There's Roberto Crown Jr., Molina exiting the pits. It looks as though, well, we still got a lot of racing to go. We still have 18 laps to go. I'm just curious which packs are going to form up the best and are going to be able to form up quickly to be able to start chasing down the single car runners.
Or will we see any penalties as far as speeding out of pit road? I mean, there were some guys that were really cooking it coming to pit road, and I'm actually surprised that, I haven't seen anything yet, so it'll be definitely interesting to watch here as...
Looks like this is the battle for the lead between Crown and Molina, but don't look now, but Christian Vargas and J.D. Martin have caught up to each other, and I think Aaron Hall is going to cycle out with them as well. So those guys, along with Echo Ross, the lap down car, probably going to be able to team up on these two pretty quickly here.
I'll tell you what, if there wasn't a pit road speeding lead, I'd tip my hat to Crown in that 81. I mean, he got all he could get coming to pit road, but let's see how it pays out here with 16 to go. Right now, it's pretty much these 4 cars plus the lap car, the 39, and that little 2-car draft that's back there. So it's really 3 cars trying to run down these front 2.
And you got Aaron Hall back there. You got Fitzwater back there.
I was just going to say Fitzwater's still in this too.
Yeah, it looks like those 3 small groups are going to be able to catch each other, and those guys are probably going to be the ones contesting the victory here at Talladega. And of note, only one of them is racing for a championship, that being the defending champion, Christian Vargas. So Vargas has a huge advantage now over his competition.
I hate to kind of correct you, but isn't Crown also in the playoffs?
Oh, yes, my mistake. But Crown is quite a ways further back in the points. But I agree with what you said. This is a great opportunity for Roberto Crown Jr. to make up some lost points, as he only has one other playoff contender to worry about.
Yeah, but the unfortunate thing for Crown at the moment is that playoff contender is actually trying to pass him right now. So, I mean, he'd have to get back by him, but as Crown has shown us, he can get back to the front. We've seen it already today. as Molina, again, started dead last, started 42nd, is the leader here with 14 to go.
And I think Hall and Fitzwater might be able to catch this group, but I highly doubt anybody else will. They're about 4 seconds off the lead, and I doubt they're going to gain much time.
Yeah,
but none of these guys are running single file.
Like I say, this group is running single file as opposed to the pack, which is still double file. So, I mean, we'll see. We're looking at the shot here. You can see the pack just coming off turn 2 now. And the leaders right here are going into 3.
They're quite a ways back, that's for sure. It's going to take quite an effort. Of course, we could get a caution flag to neutralize everything, but with the main chaotic part of the race out of the way now, it's going to be quite a challenge from here on out. As Vargas goes to the lead and swiftly chops off J.D. Martin to prevent him from advancing.
I tell you what, you got doubles of every manufacturer here, except there's no Fords here. You got the 2 Toyotas of Vargas and Crown. Then you got the Chevrolets of Martin, and even though Ross, or excuse me, there's only one Chevrolet. Then you got the 2 Dodges of Molina and Fitzwater.
And then another Toyota and Aaron Hall.
The Toyotas, yeah. Which, even though Ross is a lap down, he could still play a factor in deciding who wins this race.
And preferably it would be one of those Toyotas at the front, like Vargas, Crown, or Aaron Hall. Remember, Hall, he is not a full-timer in this series. He runs in the Nitro National Series, where he is racing for a championship, I might add. So, a little added seat time to help him progress in his career. But Vargas now heads the train as they come off turn 2, coming to 11 laps to go next time they cross the line.
And right now, the highest running Ford is actually, or was at the moment, leading that second pack. Justin Hutchinson in the 10 is actually the highest running Ford at the moment.
Back in 8th,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, this little group of 7 right here, granted you have the lap car of Ross, but it's pretty much going to be between this little group at this moment if they stay the way they do.
And I don't see any reason why they wouldn't stay like that, because they are pulling away easily from the other pack. They are now 5.7 seconds clear of 7th place Duke Ansack, with Miles Mashburn actually is in that pack too, but critically, he holds the fastest lap by 1/1000th of a second over Emma Carter, a 40.997. That could be valuable in his bid for a championship. You get a bonus point for setting a fastest lap, and who knows, that could be the difference between a championship and 2nd place for Miles Mashburn.
But let's take a second here, because I want to mention this. The guys that aren't the playoff guys up here, mainly looking at this 7 and looking at this 59. I mean, here's 2 guys. Again, I mentioned the 7 already. Started qualified 42nd, and he's got a threat to win here with less than 10 to go. So, you know, no matter how this turns out, these guys have got to look at this like Molina and Fitzwater as a run they can build off of if it stays the way it does, even if they don't win the race. You're looking at a top 6 finish here. So, this is a really good building block if you want to, take something moving forward.
Although on the other side of that equation, you have Zachary Fitzwater, Aaron Hall, and Roberto Crown Jr. all looking for their first career win. You have 9 laps to go to make it happen. You have the best opportunity you've ever had, perhaps, to win a 1-Up Superstar Series race. What good would it do to finish 6th when there's a win dangling right in front of you?
Hey, I never said it was over. I just said if this thing ends up going like this, as a driver, it's much better to say that you won the race than it is to say you finished 2nd or 3rd at the end of the day. So, is Martin going to look under Vargas for the lead with the help from the 39?
That's going to shove Vargas up to the high side and now make it 3 wide with Fitzwater and Molina. So Fitzwater, actually, with this 3 wide move, is going to move up into 2nd spot, because remember, Echo Ross is a lap down now. So Fitzwater has a bit of a buffer between himself and the race leader, but a very handy position. If he can finish there, that's a career best day.
But yeah, as I said, Ross could determine who wins this thing. If they get in the way of a battle for the lead, he could either give somebody a chance to win or push a car by somebody for a chance to win. So this 39 being in this group, just because they're a lap down does not mean they still can't factor into the finish of this thing. As we'll come to 7 to go.
And J.D. Martin's got to be sweating bullets right now because he's looking at the 3 cars behind him. He knows that none of them have won a race before. He knows they all want to. This is the opportunity of a lifetime for Zachary Fitzwater especially. He hasn't had the best of luck this season, as was the case last year, but here he comes down the inside, but he doesn't have any help to try and make the move stick.
I don't know. He's on that preferred inside groove, and we've seen this inside work time and time again.
Oh, but Martin comes to block him off, but he does get Christian Vargas to come help him out. So, Martin comes up to block Fitzwater's advance, but now Vargas dives to the inside of Fitzwater to try and take second away for himself, but Fitzy blocks him off again.
6 laps to go this time. Martin leads in the 66. Fitzwater in the 59 in second. Vargas, the defending series champion, runs third. And again, Molina in that 7, who started, I can't say that enough, started dead last in this race. He's sitting there running 4th.
A very strong run for Andres Molina, who's racing for his future right now. Doesn't have a ride next year. He's a whiz on road courses. He's a good driver at Indianapolis as well. And as this race proves, pretty good on the super speedways as well. As Zachary Fitzwater goes for the race lead, coming to 5 laps to go at Talladega. Look at that move.
Tell you what, he's one of the most fun guys to talk to in the garage area. And I know I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it would definitely be a pleasure to see him pull this off if he does with 5 to go. But to do so, he's got to hold off the defending series champion. He's got to hold off Vargas, and Vargas has proven to have a good car today.
And remember, Vargas only has
Jr. in that 81 as well.
And remember, Vargas only has the 1 win this season at Kentucky. He's had a bit of an off year this year, despite making the playoffs again. But here comes Vargas around Fitzwater. Hopefully the 59 can slot in behind the 54. Looks like he'll be able to. Coming now to 4 laps to go from Talladega. Vargas, your new leader.
And you know what? Right now, it's pretty much 2 Dodges, a Chevrolet versus 3 Toyotas. Technically 4 because Ross is in this pack, but he is, again, a lap down. Not a factor actually for the win, but the manufacturers seem to be lining up for Toyota if they can get it done. But, you know, who knows what's going to happen here with basically 4.5 laps, or 3.5 laps to go, excuse me.
Here comes Roberto Crown Jr. To the inside with help from Echo Ross. That puts Fitzwater on the top side. Is he going to be able to...
All 4 of those Toyotas are in line.
And it doesn't look like Fitzwater's going to be able to slot in between the 39 and the 07. He's going to fall to at least 4th spot. Vargas continues to lead the way, coming to 3 laps to go. Crown is still lurking back there. We'll see what he can do in these final 3 laps.
I tell you what, for the Toyota group, they're loving this right now because they got 4 of them in line. I don't think they're going to work together, but you got the 4 of them in line, and, you know, we'll see what happens here.
Coming to 2 laps to go, Christian Vargas leads Roberto Crown Jr. Aaron Hall tries to get underneath Echo Ross, try and join the battle up front. It is Vargas leading the way ahead of Crown and Aaron Hall. 3 Toyotas at the front, 2 of whom have never won in the 1-Up Superstar Series. Christian Vargas looking to get his 8th career win and move into a 2nd place tie all time. If he can make this happen, 2 laps to go.
This is at the point of the race. You want to be going forward. You want to be basically, I think, the position I would want to be in is basically where J.D. Martin is right now. I'd want to be like that 3rd one in line, or even 4th in line with Molina, and be that car that the momentum is going forward. You're making moves. Here comes Martin now looking for 2nd.
Coming into turn 3, J.D. Martin gets underneath Aaron Hall. Vargas is loving what he's seeing. Side-by-side action behind him. You can't go wrong with that. Because we're coming to the white flag this time, and as things stand at the moment, Vargas on pace to get his 2nd win of the season. Through the tri-oval they come. White flag flies here at Talladega.
Watch this run from Martin's going to get on him. We'll see if he can do anything with it as they will come off turn 2. See if he can do anything with it. I'm watching the 66 and watching to see if he can get a run here off this corner. Doesn't look like he's got it yet.
Down the back straightaway.
And there goes the... Is that the 07 ducks to the inside? That might be all Vargas needs to see.
Into 3 and 4 for the final time. Christian Vargas looking for his 8th career win, trying to deny Aaron Hall his 1st, and Zachary Fitzwater and Roberto Crown Jr. off of turn 4, heading into the tri-oval. It's past that is the start-finish line and the checkered flag, which is coming out for Christian Vargas, who takes his 8th career win, and he gets it at Talladega. 2nd win of the season for Christian Vargas. That puts him right back into the championship battle for 2022. Vargas gets it done. Aaron Hall, a career best 2nd. For him, Zachary Fitzwater ties a career best in 3rd. Roberto Crown Jr. 4th. J.D. Martin, Andres Molina 5th and 6th. Then, well, you got to go all the way back 9 seconds to find this group of cars. Nelson Reeves 7th ahead of Ben McDonald. Miles Mashburn comes home 9th to keep a very slim points lead in the title chase. Jake McMillan rounds out the top 10. In a tightly contested race that you really never knew what was going to happen until the checkered flag flew in favor of that 54 car.
And honestly, it even though it was only that little group of 7, it was still an exciting finish. We really didn't know who was going to win that thing until the end of the race, because we didn't know if Martin was going to get a run on Vargas. So Vargas does his job today and holds on to get his 2nd win of the season, which is obviously going to really help him in the playoff race.
And as things run right now, he is only 2 points behind Miles Mashburn in the points race. So Mashburn's got to look over his shoulder now, because Vargas is right there, ready to strike as we head off next time out to North Wilkesboro. So it pays dividends to start up front there. Hopefully we can see them put on a great battle for this championship. One looking for his first championship, the other looking for back-to-back. This is going to be a close battle for the rest of the season. I'm so happy to be a part of this, to see some great drivers battling it out for this championship and for all season long for race victories, because this was something special.
Yeah, I mean, this race was just, you had a lot of storylines up there. You had Vargas, of course, the defending series champion, looking for his 2nd win, which he gets his 2nd win today. You had the guys up there that were looking for their first career Superstar win today, and definitely put their effort forth. And I mentioned again with that 7 car Molina that he started tail end Charlie on the field. He ends up with a top 10 finish out of it, finishes 6th. So, you know, it's just, Talladega is such a great track for seeing things like this, and we saw another good one today.
So from Ryan Griffin and from myself as well, we say goodbye from the Talladega Superspeedway. We'll see you again next week at North Wilkesboro for race number 26. Christian Vargas now pulls to within 2 points of Miles Mashburn with a victory here at Talladega. Those two are going to put on quite a show for this championship, and we can't wait to see what's in store next time in the 1UP Superstar Series for 2022.